across the world and the Asia-Pacific region. A shared vision connects us all. A vision of governments that are transparent, accountable, and encourage citizen participation in our community of nations. This vision gave birth to the Open Government Partnership in 2011. 77 countries and 150 local governments, representing more than 2 billion people, sharing one common goal. This year, the Philippines proudly hosts the OGP Asia and the Pacific Regional Meeting, a founding member of the OGP and a trailblazer in open governance. The OGP Asia and the Pacific Regional Meeting brings together high-level government representatives, civil society leaders, policymakers, and partners from across the region and the world. Join the conversation and exchange ideas, share best practices, and explore innovative solutions that will address key issues shaping the future of governance in the Asia-Pacific region. Together, let's create a better future through open government as we take bold steps toward a future where every voice matters and every government works for its people. Welcome to the 2025 OGP Asia and the Pacific Regional Meeting.
Distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues and partners in open government, a very good morning and welcome to the 2025 Open Government Partnership Asia and the Pacific Regional Meeting. I'm Kathy Yang, your host for this two-day event. It is an honor to convene in this gathering of government leaders, civil society representatives, and reformers committed to advancing transparency, accountability, and citizen participation across our region. Our Open Government Partnership has served as a vital platform for collaboration, innovation, and reform since it was founded in 2011. As we gather here today, we reaffirm our shared commitment to strengthening democratic governance and fostering meaningful engagement between governments and citizens. The world at large here at our region are at a critical juncture, and the collective efforts of all of us here, governments, civil service, civil society, partners, and international organizations are key to ensuring that the democratic values, open government values, are upheld. So to formally open the 2025 OGP Asia and the Pacific Regional Meeting, it is my privilege to introduce Ms. Aurora R. Chavez, the Executive Director of Malayang Lapian ng Mga Kababaihan and co-chairperson of the Philippines Open Government Partnership Steering Committee. Ms. Chavez has been a steadfast advocate for civil participation, gender equality, and inclusive governance. So please join me in welcoming Ms. Chavez to deliver her remarks.
On behalf of the Non-Government Steering Committee and Non-Government Secretariat of the Philippine Open Government Partnership, it is my honor and privilege to welcome all of you to the OGP Asia and the Pacific Regional Meeting here in Manila. We gather at a critical juncture in our region's history. The Asia and the Pacific region is home to diverse cultures, economies, and some of the most vibrant democracies. It is home as well to some of its most pressing development challenges. As we navigate the complexities of the 21st century, it is clear that open governance is more crucial than ever. The selection of the Bonifacio Global City as the venue of this regional meeting is itself symbolic. This place is named after the great father of the Philippine Revolution, Andres Bonifacio, whose struggle for independence from colonial rule would eventually bring about the first constitutional democracy in Asia. Similarly, there could have been no better time for the Philippines to host this regional meeting. Just a few months after the biggest election year in human history, the Philippines is set to hold its midterm elections this May. Meanwhile, our House of Representatives and Senate recently agreed to reschedule the first ever parliamentary elections in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, a unique political entity birthed by one of the world's few successful peace processes. On the regional front, numerous civil society organizations in the Philippines are among our neighbors in the Asia and the Pacific were hit hard by the U.S. Department of State's Stop Work Order on foreign assistance programs, many of which served as a financial lifeline for projects that sought to promote human rights, democracy, peace, climate justice, better healthcare services, and gender equality, among others. This unfortunate development is expected to further cripple civil society organizations that are already struggling, not only with sustaining themselves, but also with political harassment from hostile states. But hard times breed ambition. Amidst the great uncertainty surrounding these events, we, advocates of good governance, are certain of the future that we can achieve by vigorously advocating the upholding transparency, accountability, public participation, and inclusion. We are confident in that vision of a more just and equitable world because many of us are already reaping the fruits of our labor in open government partnership. Since its founding in 2011, our partnership has provided governments, civil society, and the private sector a platform to co-create reforms that have strengthened political institutions, improved basic service delivery, and widened citizen participation in governance among and beyond its members. The Philippine Open Government Partnership is a testament to this. From the promotion of citizen participation audits, the enactment of critical government procurement reforms, the adoption of local freedom of information ordinances by numerous local government units, the establishments of more local people's councils and CSO desks throughout the country, just to name a few. But it goes without saying that the Philippine Open Government Partnership is not perfect. With patronage politics still prevalent in all levels of government, with political resistance and bureaucratic hurdles still hindering many Filipinos from enjoying the right to information, and with some development workers and human rights workers still experiencing harassment and rights violations. Indeed, much has yet to be done to make public transparency, accountability, and open governance the norm in Filipino society. I believe that this is also the case for many of us here in the Asia and the Pacific region. Yet, we come to this regional meeting unfazed by all these challenges that we are all currently facing in our respective countries. We welcome the said challenges as opportunities for solidarity and in meaningful collaboration in this difficult era of strife and divide. And we ought to make use of this regional meeting to share insights, engage fully, ask the tough questions, and build bridges. I urge all of you to approach our discussions with open mind, a willingness to listen, and of course, a commitment to action. Because we may come from different worlds, but our ambition and goals are the same. And that is toward a more open Asia and the Pacific. Just mabalos, maraming salamat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Chavez. Really inspiring words there and the dedication to open government movement. It is now my distinct honor to introduce Mr. Aidan Iyakuze, the incoming Chief Executive Officer of the Open Government Partnership, who will provide an overview of the state of the partnership, outlining both the progress achieved and the challenges that remain as we work together to advance open government principles. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Aidan Iyakuze.
Magandang umaga. Good morning, distinguished ministers, ambassadors, mayors from local authorities, leaders from parliament, the judiciary, civil society, friends. Our tremendous gratitude to the government of the Philippines for this amazing welcome and for hosting this gathering. Let me start with a small story. One day in September 1893, a young Maori woman named Mary Mangakahia stood outside a polling station in New Zealand. That day, she joined thousands of women to make history by voting in a national election for the first time. It was a right won through courage and persistence. Decades earlier, across the Tasman Sea, Australians had pioneered another democratic innovation that many of us take for granted, the secret ballot. These milestones weren't just breakthroughs for their nations, they have become global beacons for what good governance can achieve. These stories remind us of the transformative power of collaboration and creativity in strengthening democracy, especially now, when the very basic values and principles underpinning our partnership and democracy at large around the world are at risk in many places. Just in the last weeks, we have seen the dramatic impact that political decisions can have, placing hundreds of civil society organizations at risk. So it's an honor to stand here in Manila as we begin the 2025 OGP Asia and the Pacific Regional Meeting. This gathering is more than just a conference. It's a demonstration of our shared commitment to open government, a powerful tool to meet the complex challenges of our time. The Asia and the Pacific region is not only an economic and demographic powerhouse, it also represents a rich variety of cultures and governance systems. And while its diversity is a strength, it also underscores the urgent need to address shared challenges, including climate change, inequality, corruption, disinformation, and democratic erosion through collective action. Open government's proven approaches of transparency, participation, and accountability can facilitate this ambition. No single entity can achieve this alone. The effective solutions we seek must be co-created by governments, by civil societies, and by our communities. And the OGP model, rooted in deepening the partnership between government, civil society, and citizens, finds the crucial common ground for collective action. Let me give you some regional examples. The region's 13 national members and 29 local government members in the Open Government Partnership have made hundreds of commitments since 2011. These have focused on anti-corruption, on fiscal openness, on access to information, on inclusion, and on justice. Here are some recent examples of commitments. Australia is establishing governance mechanisms for safe and responsible use of automated decision-making systems. Armenia is developing a legislative framework for data policy, amongst others. Indonesia launched the first registry on beneficial ownership of Southeast Asia. New Zealand has committed to implement an algorithm charter. Mongolia improved the publication of public procurement data. the Republic of Korea launched a platform to facilitate public engagement on policymaking. I also wish to acknowledge the role that local governments can play in open government, working alongside their communities and showing how open government can have a tangible impact on citizens' lives. But even within our OGP families, challenges remain. Not all members in the region have multi-stakeholder forums, a cornerstone of how open government works. Some member countries are, sadly, inactive, and attacks to civic space remain a concern across the region. Philippines, as a founding member, has advanced collaboration and innovation, fostering multi-stakeholder dialogues and amplifying diverse voices. It has institutionalized its commitment to open government through Executive Order number 31 of 2023 and in a permanent OGP Secretariat to sustain progress across administrations. Initiatives like the citizen participatory audits have strengthened service delivery, while programs like the Seal of Good Local Governance have expanded open government at the local level. To keep advancing these reforms, the Philippines should also tackle remaining challenges, such as the pending Freedom of Information law that was part of their very first action plan, dealing with systematic corruption, increasing digital access, improving data governance gaps, and safeguarding civic space. This Asia-Pacific regional meeting is a wonderful and timely opportunity for all of us to chart a bold course for the region. Yes, the realities of countries across the region are massively diverse, but we are bound by one truth. Isolation is not an option. Growth, prosperity, peace, secure sovereignty will be built on stronger regional collaboration and a renewed collective effort to improve governance based on the principles of transparency, inclusion, and mutual accountability. Through our discussions here in Manila, our peer exchanges during this meeting and after this conference, and our stepping up to the open government challenge, we can re-energize this, our movement, dedicated to shaping a better future for us all and for future generations. 3 months ago, my eldest daughter, Maria Elena, graduated from high school. I had the honor to address her class at the ceremony on behalf of parents. My message to them was simple, 3 words: you got this. You, for their unique and valuable individuality, such as yours. Got, for their talent, skills, and capabilities. And this, for the opportunities ahead and the challenges they will be called upon to tackle. As the OGP's new CEO, I look both across this room and across the vast expanse of the Asia and Pacific region, and I am inspired by your intrinsically valuable uniqueness, your talent, your skills, your dedication, and resilience. I personally look forward to getting to know all of you better in the coming days and in the months ahead. But here is what I know already. You got this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ayacuze, and congratulations on your daughter's graduation. Really great news, bringing it here in Manila. And for that insightful address and for outlining the vision and the future of the partnership. You know, one of the most significant moments in any OGP gathering is the formal recognition of new members joining our community. So today, we are delighted to welcome national and local governments from the region that have joined our partnership since the last convening. To lead this special segment, I invite to the stage OGP Steering Committee representatives, Undersecretary Rolando Toledo of the Department of Budget and Management, and Ms. Natalia Carfi, the Executive Director of the Open Data Charter.
In just 13 years, OGP has grown from 8 founding countries to a global partnership of 77 countries, more than 150 local governments, and thousands of civil society organizations.
Today, we're excited to welcome our newest members from the Asia and the Pacific region. As we recognize participants in the room from those members, please raise your hands and make some noise. We are delighted to have with us the delegations from the newest members, starting with the Maldives. And Timor-Leste. Both are newest members in the region. We look forward to working with them as they begin their OGP journeys this year.
From Armenia, Metsamor City. Metsamor will be working on participatory budgeting and promoting youth engagement.
From Indonesia, Madiun City. We'll work on participatory development and citizen engagement in waste management. West Java, who is already working on its co-creation process in the coming months. Yogyakarta, they will use open data to improve welfare and disaster risk management.
Osh City from Kyrgyz Republic. They will also begin its action plan co-creation process in the next few months.
Fubamula City, Maldives. They will work on transparency in decision-making and using data to tackle environmental and climate changes.
And finally, it's my greatest pleasure to welcome from the Philippines, Baguio City. They will work on institutionalizing the People's Council. Lorena Siquijor, on improving citizens' participation on public procurement. Quezon City, they will enhance public participation through participatory budgeting and digital feedback. And Tagbilaran City will work on opening up its budget.
Once again, a warm welcome to all the new members of the global OGP family. We look forward to working with you and continue the growth of the partnerships in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Carfi and Undersecretary Toledo. And welcome, everyone. Welcome to the new members of the OGP. As we reflect on the evolution of open government in the Asia and the Pacific, we recognize the pressing need to adapt and innovate in response to today's challenges. So our next segment is a moderated dialogue that will explore strategies to revitalize open government initiatives in the region. It is my pleasure to introduce our distinguished moderator for this session, Ms. Stephanie Muchay, the incoming Global Civil Society Co-Chair of the OGP Steering Committee. Ms. Muchay, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to be moderating the first panel of the opening ceremony. I have an amazing and strong panel to help me with the discussion. So I will begin by introducing our hosts from the Philippines. Please give a warm welcome to Secretary Amina Pangandaman, Secretary, Department of Budget and Management, Philippines. we also have with us today Governor Reynaldo Tamayo, Governor South Cotabato, who is an OGP local pioneer. Welcome, Governor. Next, we have from Indonesia, who are also a founding member of the partnership, Ambassador Agus Wijojo, Ambassador of Indonesia to the Philippines. Welcome, Ambassador. With our civil society colleagues, we have two members of the OGP Steering Committee members, and our first to come on stage is Eka Gigauri, Transparency International from Georgia. Welcome, Eka. Next, we have the current chair of the co-chair of the partnership from the Philippines, Ms. Cielo Magno. Welcome, Cielo. I'll ask our speakers to please have your seats. So this session title is Reinvigorating Open Government in the Asia-Pacific region. We're looking forward to a robust discussion. If time prevails, we will allow from interaction from the floor, but let's get started. I will ask the speakers a round of questions and direct us as to who shall answer. So for the first round, to our speakers, we are looking at the changes since OGP was founded in 2011 until today. And there have been some geopolitical shifts, democratic recession, as well as domestic political realities that have reshaped the environment for open government reform. We would like to hear from you, just your broad view. How have the shifts and challenges over the years reshaped the environment for open government reform? And we would love to receive your suggestion to the reformers in the room today on strategies or adaptations that they should prioritize to address the evolving challenges effectively. Secretary Mina, we would love to start with you. Welcome.
Good morning, thank you, and welcome everyone. Mabuhay, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Maybe just two things, just to keep it simple. We'd just like to ask our peers, our partners, to take the opportunity of joining us in platforms like this. I know that the OGP family, the OGP community, will work on several meetings, consultations, events throughout the year. So I call on everyone to take that opportunity to join us, to join the discussion, help us, and support moving forward our advocacy. You know, if I can just brag, when I asked you to join, it should be output oriented, and I'm just happy to announce that we can hold our cabinet meeting here now. We have all our ministers, our cabinet here from the Philippines present. We have Secretary Jimmy Bautista from DOTR, Secretary Manny Bonoan from the Department of Public Works and Highways, Secretary Angara from the Department of Education, Secretary Erbosa from the Department of Health, Secretary Benny Laguesma from the Department of Labor, of course, Secretary Manalo from the Department of Foreign Affairs, and Secretary Cristina Frasco from the Department of Tourism. So we have a quorum already. We can hold our cabinet meeting now, and the President is coming later. So I'm happy that they're joining us here. So I would like just to ask that everyone to take that opportunity to join us in the conversation. And then second, in these modern times with all the modern technology around, let's make use of the digitalization and other platforms where we can actually impart to people our best practices and what we've been doing so far. So there are just two things. I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary, and welcome to the Cabinet of the Philippines. Next, Governor Tamayo, your opening remarks, please.
Yes, the OGP was founded in, that was 2011. And the global context when OGP was launched in 2011 could refer to the following. First, the rise of social media and digital technology, transforming how citizens engage in government and each other, increase the use of technology to promote transparency and accountability, and also the wave of pro-democracy uprising across the Middle East and North Africa began in the late 2010 and continued into 2011. The global financial crisis in 2008, triggered by the collapse of the housing market in the United States, which resulted in a severe worldwide economic downturn, which saw massive job losses, some foreclosures, and a significant drop in global economic activity. So in 2011, many countries were grappling with economic recovery, and there was a need for a stronger regulatory frameworks to prevent future crises. Since then, there has been a push for more open government to foster trust and collaboration among governments and nations. Open government reforms have become crucial in ensuring citizens' participation, protecting freedoms, and promoting inclusivity. For instance, the recent rise in youth activism has been a major driving force behind our open government initiatives. Young people are demanding more transparency in how local funds are allocated, particularly for education and employment programs. To effectively address these evolving challenges, reformers should prioritize enhancing civic engagement through participatory budgeting and online transparency portals, ensuring that citizens, especially the youth in our marginalized sectors, have a direct role in decision-making. You know, in South Cotabato, we have this open contracting. In our open contracting, we involve civil society, especially in the bidding process. In our bids and awards committee, we have members coming from the civil society to make sure that there will be no negotiated bidding, so that we can assure that we can get the lowest bidder and the quality as much as possible bidder. Because as I assumed office in 2019, I issued an executive order that those contractors that has 15% negative slippage, above 15% above negative slippage, they are banned to do bidding in our province. And also we have this open monitoring, wherein we involve civil society in project monitoring. We created a provincial project monitoring committee, wherein almost 50% of the members are coming from the civil society. So with this, we believe that involving civil society in our governance will make a big difference in our province. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor Tamayo. Just a word to the room that the open contracting community appreciate all the work in South Cotabato on open contracting. It continues to be a good example across the region. Ambassador Wijojo, we welcome your reflections, please.
Excellencies, honorables, ladies and gentlemen, the Open Government Partnership, or OGP, was founded in an era of democratic governance optimism. To date, however, global democratic backsliding and rising geopolitical tensions pose new challenges towards open governance realization in the global stage. Indonesia believes that OGP communities should adopt strategic recalibration of open government reforms to ensure OGP's relevance and resilience. First, OGP communities should prioritize effective and strengthen multi-stakeholder collaborations. Amidst growing mistrust in institutions, fostering meaningful engagement between government, civil society, and the private sector is the utmost necessary. I repeat, necessity. Second, to sustain reforms beyond political cycles, embedding transparency and accountability mechanisms into regulatory and governance frameworks remains a priority nationally. Third, regularized dialogue within the region and in the global level will establish a necessary platform for Asia-Pacific countries to exchange best practices and identify common challenges in open governance. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Eka, we have heard a call to join platforms like this, making use of digitization, civic engagement, multi-stakeholder collaboration, and having regular dialogue. What would you add to those proposals or agree and affirm with of what has been proposed so far?
Working? Okay. Good morning, everyone. To answer your question, which is very important, so yes, I would agree that OGP was founded in a very different global context, and at that time, I would say there was a kind of stronger consensus that about the importance of democracy, openness, transparency, and engagement of citizens in different reforms. However, now we see that the world has been changed, and we see the new challenges to the open government initiatives, and this is disinformation for sure, which undermines the democratic reforms. This is the shrinking space for the civil society that we see in many countries now. And this is also maybe the arguments from the governments on the national security, which justifies the limited transparency. So in order to deal with all these challenges, I think that we need new strategy. And First of all, this strategy should be adequate, right, to the challenges, and we need for this to really analyze what is going on in the world and what will be the most effective way to deal with this. And definitely, we also need to think how to ensure, like really to ensure the transparency and accountability. And maybe when countries are focusing on particular reforms in the particular areas, they also should look at the management system, the governance system as such. And what I mean here is that it is very important to also ensure the proper checks and balances system. It's important to have the independent institutions. It's important to have the justice system, which will conduct the effective oversight on the whole system, the governance system. So I think that in this new strategy, it is important to defend the civic space. That's also should be part of the strategy. I think that it's important also to counter disinformation, and here the role of the OGP community is huge. And I think that we all should invent the new ways, the innovative ways to engage the citizens, and maybe it will help. Thank you.
Thank you, Eka, for those additional reflections. Cielo, if you would close out our opening round of reflections with yours, please.
Right, thank you. I think it's very important from a perspective of civil society to actually be able to identify populist governments. What are their characteristics? Obviously, populist governments are anti-transparency, right? They directly attack civil society. They use fake news. They spread fake news. They hire trolls to influence the discourse in the political discourse and debate. So from the perspective of civil society, I think it's very important for us, especially governments or members of open government partnership, to get their strong commitment to institutionalize spaces for civil society to participate and to also legislate laws that will strengthen participation. One important law is the freedom of information, and I think this should be minimum for all OGP countries. Another one is the institutionalization of policies that would push back and fight corruption. What are examples of this? Laws on beneficial ownership and open contracting. I think civil society should work actively to help citizens spot fake news, because it's very important for us to be able to have open communication, but at the same time, the use of data in informing policies. Civil society should also recognize that while we engage in one agency, there are various agencies of government that actually provide genuine civic space. We have the executive, we can engage the legislature, we can go to court to shape policies and to actually actively push for reforms. And then lastly, I think it's very important for us, civil society, to be able to distinguish what is a token civic space and what is a genuine civic space. So when we engage, we have to make sure that we are not being used to whitewash and legitimize populist government. We have to make sure that the space that is provided for us is really providing opportunity to push for genuine reforms. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Cielo. You have segued us into the kind of next reflection. So if you don't mind, I'll start again with you and then come back down this way. We're just thinking about now, we have moments of uncertainty, and in moments of uncertainty, largely movements find new sources of energy, of resilience. I wonder if you can tell us what gives you hope for the future of open government? And as you reflect on what it is that gives you hope for the future of open government, are there specific practices, reforms, or examples, whether they are global or local, that you believe can inspire, can reinvigorate the movement today? I think you already started us on a note with some reforms, so please go on. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think the challenge with open government is, for many people, it's so abstract. When you talk of corruption, it's so philosophical, right? But the challenge for us is to be able to translate the narrative and the value of open governance to address gut issues. And I'm reminded and inspired by a lot of community movements that trigger social movements. A concrete example of this is actually the social movement that happened in India with respect to freedom of information. It was actually started by rural workers demanding accountability and transparency and accuracy on the social protection programs provided to them. So because of the lack of disclosure and access to information, despite the provision on access to information in Constitution of India, that triggered communities to actually demand information from government so that they can do people's audit. So I think by translating what we mean by open government, what we mean by transparency, what we mean by fighting corruption, by addressing the gut issues of communities, I think I am very optimistic that we will be able to continue to inspire social movements to push for better governance.
I'm glad your optimism is still high, and that's a shared sentiment in the room. Eka, your reflections, please.
What gives me hope? Maybe the active citizens and the youth. And we see many examples around the world when they just do not accept the democratic backsliding. And they do everything to ensure the transparency and accountability of their governments. And we see huge demonstrations which continue for many months, like it is in Georgia. And we see the youth movements which are defending the democratic elections. elections, and we see also many movements which are challenging the disinformation in different countries. So we see all these people, and they are active and they are never tired. What we also have observed during this last several years, that their activities have different forms, and some of them are using the artistic activism and the special, like the campaigns in the social media that gives them better chances to mobilize the different groups of people, and also make sure that the governments are accountable and more transparent. I think that now the citizens are also trying to use open data and technology in order to enforce the transparency, and this is also something that gives me hope. And also something interesting that I witness now, the civil servants. You know, sometimes maybe there is no big political or high political will to effectively implement the open government initiatives, but there are people in the governments who are trying their best to ensure the better future of the country.
Thank you, Eka. Those are wonderful examples of the ecosystem of change and of the movement. We have civil servants, you mentioned the citizens, so it's not just organized civil society, and I think that underscores the need to keep the space for expression, for information, and for assembly free for people to be able to participate in matters of public interest. Thank you for those comments. Ambassador Wijojo, we welcome your reflections.
Thank you. Well, despite challenges, there are strong reasons for optimism. In Indonesia, several promising reforms exemplify the resilience and adaptability of open government. For instance, Indonesia's current cabinet places a strong emphasis on strengthening democracy and protecting human rights by promoting digital governance. Through the Open Government Indonesia, or OGI platform, Indonesia is actively promoting and implementing open government practices at the national level by fostering co-creation processes with government agencies, civil society organizations, and other key stakeholders. For instance, inclusive policies are implemented through expanding access to justice, specifically by augmenting legal aid provisions for vulnerable individuals and groups. Between 2012 and 2023, 619 legal aid organizations were involved in this process, assisting around 94,633 low-income individuals. Moreover, the nexus between anti-corruption efforts and digital innovation has enabled fraud identification and corruption in public procurement. The Open Government Indonesia National Action Plan, or NAP7, pushes forward the co-creation process of enhancing transparency and participation in public procurement data. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. It's really good to hear the themes coming across, the optimism, the innovation, whether digital or otherwise, that is needed, and more importantly, the co-creation element as a common theme among the speakers. Governor Tamayo, what would be your thoughts on the same?
What gives me hope? Seeing the unwavering dedication of South Cotabateños, especially our very active civil society organizations who continue to advocate for transparency and accountability. And also, as someone with a background in information technology, I am a IT professional. The technological advancements that enable more inclusive and participatory governance can empower citizens to engage and hold their leaders accountable. Lastly, the global solidarity among reformers and the OGP community, as demonstrated by the summit, sharing best practices and supporting each other reinforces the belief that together we can build a brighter and more open future. And I would like to share the specific practices and reforms in my province. Actually, in order to equip our civil society, the provincial government, together with the Maintana Foundation, we created a CSO Academy, wherein we trained our civil society representatives in order for them to participate well in the governance that we have, because they will be handling a lot of committees. So they should be fully equipped, and this CSO Academy will equip them with the knowledge and wisdom to be involved in the governance that we have. That is one. And also second, in the Philippines, the smallest unit of government is the barangay level. But we go deeper, wherein we organize the purok level, that is around 100 to 200, only 100 to 200 families in that community, wherein we created an organization that involved all the families there. And those officers of that organization is in the more smallest unit in the community. We give them opportunity to access the promise, the provincial project request and online monitoring system, wherein they can participate in monitoring our projects, give their complaints, and also give a suggestion of what projects that they really need in their own community. So that's maybe the good practices that we have in the South Cotabato, that we are also telling our partners now that please look into it, especially the CSO Academy, so that we can, enhance and equip our CSO representatives. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you,
you.
Governor. I think I'm just excited to hear your comments, because we have such a large local government contingent at OGP, and you hear why it's important. When you hear words from local governments like families and communities, it's very important that OGP provides that platform for that level of engagement. That means we can have more needs-based projects and interventions, but also that government is building trust together with the citizens on their initiatives. So thank you for those reflections, Governor. Secretary Amina, please go ahead.
Okay, what gives us hope? Maybe in the administration, I can probably just mention a few of our reforms that maybe can inspire our peers in this side of the world. Well, first, if I can just borrow previous CEO Sanjay Pradham's statement that we should channel or embrace the principles of open government in our national agenda. And I'm happy that in the country and in this administration, we have institutionalized open government partnership, bringing together the national government, the civil society organization, and even our judiciary as part of the steering committee. So we're very happy with that. And also, it's part of our development plan. It's actually in the Chapter 14 of our Philippine Development Plan, 2023 to 2028. So I'm happy with that. Second, maybe is that the localization. If you will notice a while ago, there are 12 new members in the family of OGP, local members in the family of OGP, and 1/3, 4 out of the 12 new members is from the Philippines. So we're just proud to share that among our peers, that when we work together in the national government, in the local government, and together with the civil society, we can make things happen. And then lastly, among our biggest reforms in this administration, of course with the support of our president, is our biggest anti-corruption measure, which is the new Government Procurement Act. Professor Shelo Magno mentioned a while ago open contracting and beneficial ownership. These are among the pillars of the new Government Procurement Act. We introduced new alternative modes of procurement, and at the same time, we also introduced institutionalized open contracting. We institutionalized beneficial ownership and institutionalized the participation of our stakeholders, of our CEOs in the whole procurement process. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Secretary Amina. For those that may not understand the importance of institutionalization, it not only means certain effectiveness, but it also means beyond administrations and for however many years to come, the good work continues that everyone has done from the beginning to go to the end. And for the procurement, I'm particularly excited about that because people may find procurement such a dull subject, but the reality is that's the way government delivers goods and services to the citizens, and it's very important to get it right. So it's really great to hear those examples of the Philippines. Thank you for highlighting those. So we'll take a last round of questions, and then if we have time, we'll be able to invite interventions from the floor. So I would just like now I will start with you, Ambassador Wijojo, just bang smack in the middle there. We have a great panel of key leaders and custodians of the Open Government Partnership, whether as envoys, steering committee members, and just reform pioneers within government as well. We just want to talk now about priorities. What are your immediate and long-term priorities for advancing open government locally, domestically, regionally, and globally? And added to your priorities, if you can just talk us through, what specific leadership role do you envision playing to drive meaningful impact and foster collective action within the partnership? Welcome, Ambassador. Ambassador Wijojo, if you would start us off on your reflections on the final round.
Yes, it's uncommon to start from the middle.
Shake things up a little bit.
Okay. As advocates for open government in the short term, Indonesia is committed to strengthening and integrating open government principles into national strategic planning. We are also committed to leveraging digital transformation to increase governance transparency, citizen engagement, as well as data-driven policy making. Open data initiatives are leveraged to improve transparency and evidence-based policy making. In digital governance area, several initiatives will be undertaken in the upcoming 5-year planning period, which is 2025 through 2029. Specifically, the Indonesian government is currently developing an integrated national portal for public services, utilizing the moments of life approach. This initiative seeks to enhance government service accessibility and efficiency from birth to end of life, integrating citizen participation and digitalization while prioritizing life-enhancing social assistance. This includes incorporating health and education services through nutritious meal programs for students. Through a sustained intermediate effort, we hope the ecosystem will be ripe for open governance to thrive in the long run, characterized by institutionalized open government reforms to ensure sustainability across political transitions, expanded civic participation mechanisms, and data-driven policies through digital innovation. At the global and regional level, OGP framework should work towards closer cooperation to address transboundary challenges and proactively seek relevant linkages with other global coalitions for open governance, thereby expanding avenues for collective partnerships with various other international organizations. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those closing reflections. I would like to give our host the last word as we close off. So maybe I will go to you, Eka, and then Cielo, and come back to the government of the Philippines for your reflections, please.
I am actually in a very unique position because for many years I worked for the reformist government in Georgia. So, and there we were dealing with, I was dealing with the anti-corruption reforms, and this was time when we have, in the government, have initiated the e-procurement system, the, like we have published the asset declarations of public officials online, and the company registry was also, online company registry was also introduced at that time. So from one side, I really know how difficult it is to implement such reforms, but also how important these reforms are. Then now I'm with the active civil society organization. So my immediate kind of priority will be, of course, to defend the space for the civil society. It's very important. It's happening, as I said, in many countries. It's through the limited legislation, through the special legislation. It's they are intimidating the activists, the watchdog groups, and all that. So it should be. It should be protected, and I think that the role of international community is huge here, and also this government should face the consequences when they are attacking the civil society in their countries. For the long run, I think that it's very important to support the reformists movements and individuals and the politicians who are ready to implement open government reforms. And I think that the OGP community should know about these governments and individuals and politicians, and also the international community. And I think that for the civil society, it's also very important to be ready to ensure the institutionalization of these achievements. This is and to help government in that, right? Yes, I think that this will be my priority, and also maybe to focus more and to make sure that the open government is citizen-centered, so that it reflects the needs of citizens on the ground. So this would be my priority. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Eka. Over to you, Cielo.
Yeah, as a co-chair of the steering committee representing civil society, I refer to our co-chair agenda stating that we aim to mainstream civil society participation, and I want to particularly focus on subnational governments. I'm happy to see that 10 of the 12 new members are subnational governments, and I think we need more, because at the subnational level, this is where we really create legitimate spaces for communities to participate in open governance. The second thing that I want to emphasize, and this is what we see globally, is the increasing regulation of civil society. We recognize that governments have legitimate concerns when they try to legislate policies looking at civil society, but unfortunately, the consequence, or maybe unintended consequence of that, is a shrinking civic space, difficulty of civil society to operate, and the lack of flexibility and independence of civil society. And I want to highlight that the same concerns of governments can actually be achieved by looking at the possibility of civil society self-regulating. And I think in our side events, particularly, for example, in the Philippines, we have an experience of that. The Philippine Council for NGO Certification is an example of where civil society can actually do self-regulation. So by recognizing that, we as civil society and governments can work together in addressing these legitimate concerns. The third one, and we've seen this, a huge challenge for all of us, the funding of development programs, the dependence of significant numbers of civil society on development assistance. I think it's important for us at the global level to start mapping and examining and monitoring how this will affect the operations of civil society in different governments, but also maybe a challenge for our own national government to now step up and provide the resources and support for civil society to continuously operate, but at the same time, bearing in mind that we have to be able to keep our integrity intact and our independence intact to be able to meaningfully engage. That's why I recognize what Governor Tamayo is doing at the subnational level, providing support to strengthen community organizations so that they can effectively engage. And maybe on the last part, Secretary Mina already made a commitment on all the policies for the Philippine government, maybe a commitment to pass the Freedom of Information Law immediately. And of course, when I was discussing the checklist on populist governments, a lot of people here from the Philippines can already make a checklist. We just came from that era. But I'm hoping, because in the Philippines, we had an active policy in the previous administration to red tag civil society. And that really was a very difficult position for us because it's essentially shutting up civil society from speaking and engaging government. So I'm hoping that the President can make an outright commitment to reverse that policy of red tagging. Thank you.
Thank you. Always a good idea to give the government the last word so that they have a chance to respond. So, Governor, I'll begin with you for your last reflections, and then over to Secretary Amina.
I only have two immediate action plan. Number one is the open information, informing citizens of the rights and responsibilities in the digital space, as outlined in Republic Act 10173, the Data Privacy Act, and Republic Act 10175, the Cybercrime Prevention Act. This involves launching awareness campaigns and educational programs to ensure citizens understand how to protect their data and navigate the digital landscape safely. Then second, the open monitoring, the enhancing citizen participation in monitoring infrastructure projects through informing them of initiatives like the DILG Memorandum Circular 2020-070, which establishes barangay project monitoring and evaluation committees. These councils will be empowered to monitor local projects and ensuring transparency and accountability. The long-term action plan, as I've mentioned earlier, we need to strengthen the CSO Academy in our province to equip our CSO representatives. Then also to restart our online portal, the iPad, with improved features such as real-time project tracking, interactive dashboards, and enhanced user interfaces to provide citizens and more accessible and comprehensive information on government activities, fostering greater engagement and trust. Then, as a leader, I envision championing citizen engagement and digital transparency, ensuring that our community actively participates in governance through innovative tools like our enhanced digital portal. I will also forge strong collaboration with civil society organizations and other OGP members, sharing best practices and driving collective inaction to address common challenges and foster a culture of openness and accountability. And to end, I would like to share to everybody the best outcome of the partnership between the government and the CSO in my area, when most of the CSO and the citizens of the South Cotabato is asking me to give these specific programs, especially the free education in elementary, high school, in college, no fees, no PTA fees, no other fees from elementary to college, even in private. So we engage in a public-private partnership through also to CSO. So now, everybody in the province, even if I told them that the citizen there's no need for them to go to the mayor, congressman, or governor to access free education in our province. They just enroll in the schools, even the private schools that has a partnership with the government. So that's one of the outcome of the partnership between the CSO. And also the hospitalization, the implementation of universal health care, of course with the help of the Department of Health. In South
Governor,
Cotabato,
if I can give
in
you
South
30 more
Cotabato-
seconds, please, just so that we can keep time.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So, in South Cotabato, we have free hospitalization that the people don't need to go to the politicians just to access free hospitalization in our province. They just go to the hospital, who is already accredited to the government with the partnership with the private sector also. So that's the best outcome of the partnership between the government and the CSO and the private sector in our province. I hope that it can be replicated to other provinces and government also.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor. A final word from Secretary Mina. Welcome.
I mentioned a while ago our reforms, but I think more than the reforms that we've already introduced in the administration of our president is the proper and efficient implementation of this. On the procurement, we have already finalized and released and approved our implementing rules and regulations. Everyone is invited to look at it. It will be posted in our website on Monday, so I hope you take part on that. Second, really it's mainstreaming the principles of open government partnership, the pillars of OGP, transparency, accountability, and civil society participation. The DBM took the lead in all of this. We don't want to take a step back, but we want my fellow cabinet here to really embrace the spirit and the commitment of open government. Hopefully, we'll be able to include this in our convergence budgeting program. We are in the transition stage, but maybe in our next budget cycle, we'll be able to include this. We will tag all the programs and projects that is part of our OGP commitments. And then second, the localization. While we already have 5 municipalities who are members of the OGP family, we have more than 1,000 municipalities in this country. And I'm happy that our Secretary of Interior and Local Government is here, so he will take he will help us to ensure that more local government units will be part of the OGP family. And just one last note, I'll remiss if I will not mention this. You know, during the sidelines, the OGP Secretariat conducted at the sidelines of the UN event last year in New York. And then one of the panelists there mentioned the central banks. How come they are not part of the family or the community of the open government partnership? Fortunately, I was from the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. I'm from the Philippine Central Bank before I joined the executive. So I'm happy that the entire monetary board, even the governor of the Central Bank of the Philippines is here. They in fact moved their monetary board meeting yesterday just to be able to come here. So maybe we can also ask the central bank to be part of our conversation and be part of the OGP family. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Secretary Mina. Thank you to the panel for the reflections. I seek guidance from the production team whether we have opportunity for interactions from the floor. No, unfortunately, we do not. We did our best to keep it so that we would have that, but we hope that the panelists have inspired discussions that you can then take to the various events and side events. It's not easy to be part of the opening plenary. Our panelists have been very brave to do that. So please give a warm round of applause as I invite you now to please leave the stage. Thank you. Thank you so much. Photo.
Thank you so much. You did
We'll
such
take a photo first
Yes, of
before we
course.
leave the stage.
Thank you so much, everyone. A fabulous
Thank
job
you.
there moderating
Thank
the
you.
event. And
Thank
to
you,
our
Secretary
esteemed
Amina.
panelists,
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Governor. Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you very much. Thank you, Eka. Thank you, CLO.
Well, it looks like we've left a lot of homework for our government to take home after that conversation. Well, as we continue to celebrate open government innovation, we now turn our attention to the Open Gov Challenge, an initiative designed to bolster ambition and reforms from across the globe. So to introduce this initiative and recognize the OGP members who are part of it, it is my pleasure to welcome Mr. Rudy Borman, the Director of Communications, Content, and Community Engagement at OGP.
Thank you, Kathy. Good morning, everyone. In our last summit in Estonia, the community has launched a global campaign to find the most ambitious commitments in the context of the OGP family. This is called the Open Gov Challenge. This is a global campaign, a global competition to push reforms in specific areas. Let me tell you a little bit about the challenge. We are focusing on 10 thematic areas of work where the Open Gov community has focused specifically the action within these 10 areas: access to information, anti-corruption, civic space, climate and environment, digital governance, fiscal openness, gender and inclusion, justice, media freedom, and public participation. There is another interesting approach to the challenge, an interesting feature to the challenge, which has to do on who can participate in the challenge. So the challenge is open, of course, to all OGP members, any public sector institution, all branches of government, national, local, and provincial government. This means that, for example, in the Philippines, any local government from the Philippines could present a commitment in the context of this challenge. And I'm going to add a little, another nudge into the mix, because the best challenges that are part of this program will be recognized this year in Spain, in our global summit in Vitoria-Gasteiz in Spain. So let me share with you now a little bit. We are going to do another recognition because we had from the region several submitters of commitments for the challenge that have presented the challenge as part of the program. Let's recognize these participants that have presented a commitment. Let's start with Armenia, who has presented a commitment on creating a digital gift declaration register for public officials. More loud, please. Mongolia, publishing political finance data on an online platform. The Republic of Korea, amending laws to expand whistleblower protection and support. Our host, the Philippines, in improving data availability, interoperability, and public participation in procurement. Baguio in the Philippines also presented a challenge, institutionalizing the Baguio City People's Council. La Arena in the Philippines also improving the public procurement process. So all these commitments are now in a race for what we call the OpenGov Challenge Awards. So basically, you now can scan this QR code to basically start finding the information to participate on the challenge. And as I said before, the best challenge submissions will be recognized in Spain. And one characteristic, important characteristic of the challenge is we are looking for the most ambitious commitments. So there is an extra pressure to get the best of the best around the open government community. So I invite everyone here, and thank you to our host to push to have many submissions from the Philippines, to keep pushing to have more reforms, because now everyone can participate. Thank you very much, and please participate in the challenge. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Borman. We commend these initiatives, and I know that you've done a lot of OGPs around the world, so this is very important, the reformers behind them for the commitment to advancing open government. Now, we now take a moment to celebrate the rich cultural diversity of my country, the Philippines. Who's in for some music? Yeah, I am too. I've got some really talented Filipino musicians in the backstage. It is a reflection of our rich history, deep emotions, and strong sense of identity. So today, we celebrate this heritage through the power of song, the traditional melodies that have been passed down through generations, carrying the stories of our people. So we will now be serenaded with timeless Filipino songs that continue to inspire and unite us all. So let us welcome Ryan Kayabyab Singers.
Where everyone wears a smile,
with more than 7,000 diamonds,
like glimmering green diamonds,
where you can climb the mountains, hide behind the clouds, and kiss the sky. We welcome you to our beautiful country,
with miles and miles of sand and sea. It beckons you to keep returning to a place that keeps you yearning for great adventures burning in your heart and in your soul. Kay ganda ng Pilipinas, kay ganda ng Pilipinas, we say mabuhay, mabuhay. Kay ganda ng Pilipinas, kay ganda ng Pilipinas, we say mabuhay, we say mabuhay. Come to the Philippines, come to the Philippines.
we welcome you to our beautiful country,
With miles and miles of sand and sea, it beckons you to keep returning to a place that keeps you yearning for great adventures burning in your heart and in your soul. Kay ganda ng Pilipinas, much, you'll get very fat. Now the coconut nut is a big, big nut, but it's delicious nut. It's not a nut, it's the cocoa fruit.
It's the cocoa fruit
Of the cocoa tree.
of the cocoa tree.
From the cocoa palm family. There are so many uses of the coconut tree. You can build a bigger house for the family. All you need is to find the coconut man. If he cuts the tree, he gets the fruit free. It's the cocoa fruit
It's the cocoa fruit
of the cocoa tree.
of the cocoa tree.
From the cocoa palm family. The coconut part for the kitchen floor. If you save some of it, you can build that door. Now the coconut trunk gonna through this job. If you save some of it, you'll have a second floor. The coconut wood is very good. It can stand 20 years if you pray it would. Now the coconut fruit could tell you the truth. You can throw it or use it as firewood. The coconut leaves good shade it gives for the roof or the walls up against the eaves. Now the coconut fruit, say my relatives, make good candles up against the tree. It's the cocoa fruit
It's the cocoa fruit
of the cocoa tree.
of the cocoa tree.
From the cocoa palm family. The coconut nut is a giant nut. If you eat too much, you get very fat. Now the coconut nut is a big, big nut, but it's delicious nut. It's not a nut. The coconut nut is a giant nut. If you eat too much, you get very fat. Now the coconut nut is a big, big nut, but it's delicious nut. It's not a nut, it's the cocoa fruit
It's the cocoa fruit
of the cocoa tree.
of the cocoa tree.
From the cocoa palm family. It's the cocoa fruit of the cocoa tree. From the cocoa palm family. It's the cocoa fruit
It's the cocoa fruit
of the cocoa tree.
cocoa tree.
From the cocoa palm family. Hooray!
Return to a land called Paraíso, a place where a dying river ends. No birds dare fly over Paraíso. No space allows them to endure the smoke that screens the air, the grass that's never there.
And if I could see a single bird, what a joy. I try to write some words and create a simple song to be heard by the rest of the world.
I live in this land called Paraíso, in a house made of cardboard floors and walls.
I learned to be free in Paraíso, free to claim anything I see.
Matching rags for my clothes.
Plastic bags for the cold, and if empty cans were all I have, what a joy. I never fight to take someone else's coins and live in fear like the rest of the world. Paraíso, help me make a stand. Paraíso, take me by the hand. Paraíso, shore, this tired and hungry land could expect some truth and hope and respect from the rest of the world. That if I could see a single bird, what a joy this tired and hungry land could expect some truth and hope and respect from the rest of the
We think some of you might know these songs. Feel free to sing along.
Do you know the way to San Jose? I walk along the city streets you used to walk along with me. And every step I take recalls how much in love we used to be. Oh, how can I forget you when there is, when there is, when there is.
What do you get when you fall in love? A guy with a pin to burst your bubble. That's what you get for all your trouble. I'll never fall in love again. I'll never fall in love again.
Always something there to remind me.
I'll never fall in love again.
Always something there to remind me.
What do you get when you kiss a guy? You'll get enough germs and catch pneumonia. After you do, you'll never phone ya. I'll never fall in love again. Whoa, I'll never fall in love again.
Always something there. Don't tell me what it's all about. 'Cause I've been there and I'm glad I'm out of those chains that bind you. That is why I need to remind you. I need to remind you. LA is a great big freeway, but 100 down and by a car. In a week or maybe two, they'll make you a star. Do you know the way to San Jose? Do you know the way to San Jose? Say a little prayer for you.
Say a little prayer for you.
Say a little prayer.
The moment I wake up, before I put on my makeup, I say a little prayer for you. While combing my hair now and wondering what dress to wear now, I say a little prayer for you. Forever, ever, ever, never stay in my heart, and I will love you forever, ever, ever, never, never apart. Oh, how I love you.
Together, that's how it must be to live without you. Would only be heartbreak for me.
Be mine tonight. Let this be just the start of so many nights like this. Let's take a lover's vow and then seal it with a kiss. My darling, believe in me.
What a fabulous performance. Thank you so much. I hope we get an opportunity again to listen to them. So please turn off your cellular phones or keep them on silent mode. Just a few house rules. Sirs and ma'ams, all participants are requested to stay in their respective seats when the president has arrived and until he has left the venue. May we request everyone to please settle down and proceed to your assigned seats. The president is arriving in a short while. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. We may now be seated. May we call on Budget and Management Secretary Amina Pandaman to go back on the stage to give her welcome remarks and an overview of this important event and to introduce our guest of honor and speaker.
His Excellency President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., the driving force behind the institutionalization of open government partnership in the Philippines. Archbishop Charles John Brown and members of the Diplomatic Corps, Supreme Court Chief Justice Alexander Desmundo, the Speaker of the House, Speaker Martin Romualdez, fellow ministers from around the world, and colleagues in the Philippine government, champions of open government in civil society, and distinguished guests, again, from around the world. Magandang umaga, good morning, mabuhay, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the 2025 OGP Asia and the Pacific Regional Meeting. We are so honored to have you all at this gathering of visionaries, reformers, and change makers who believe in and fight for a world where transparency is a norm, accountability is a commitment, and citizen participation is a right, not a privilege. I started my term as part of the OGP Steering Committee representing the Philippines just last October. So I can't believe that we are now hosting this monumental event in just little over 3 months since joining the SteerCom. But we are grateful and excited because seeing all of you here, I know we are off to a good start in making the message of open government reverberate not just in the country but across the Asia-Pacific region and beyond. We are also very privileged today to welcome our new OGP Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Aidan Eyakuze. This is historical because it is very first regional meeting. Thank you, sir. This marks the beginning of a new era in open government. Aidan, we have our work cut out for us, but we stand ready to push the open government agenda alongside with you, especially here in the Asia Pacific. Speaking of which, we have a lot of aspired for in terms of the open government challenge. In the Philippines, we are proud to share that based on the latest open budget survey, the Philippines ranked #1 in Asia in fiscal transparency. We have also enacted the new Government Procurement Act, which has been hailed as the biggest anti-corruption measure in the country's recent history, as it introduces open contracting, disclosure of beneficial ownership information, and public participation at all levels of procurement process in sync with open government values. I am particularly impressed by our very own procurement service for taking our anti-corruption efforts a step further through their submission of an ambitious commitment and Open Gov Challenge. I likewise commend the local governments of Baguio and Llerena for also taking on the challenge. Sana po dumami pa po kayo. At the same time, we are eager to listen and learn from OGP journey of Georgia, Armenia, Australia, Indonesia, Mongolia, and Papua New Guinea, who all develop platforms for citizens to better understand the government budgets and processes, and report concerns about public services, among other achievements, toward transparency and accountability. In terms of regional commitments, we look forward to the Republic of Korea opening and expanding administrative appeals, Sri Lanka and Kyrgyz Republic strengthening their right to information frameworks, and New Zealand implementing its algorithm charter. Finally, we proudly welcome our two newest members, Maldives and Timor-Leste. Thank you for joining the partnership and recognizing the OGP values as a cornerstone of democracy. On a side note, may I just share that in the spirit of inclusivity and sustainability, for your welcome kits, we tap persons deprived of liberty in Quezon City, a local government unit that just last year became a member of the OGP local program, as well as our artisans in the province of Bulacan to repurpose some 2,800 square feet of used tarpaulins into tote bags that you have right now. Inside those tote bags is the Auro chocolate, our internationally acclaimed chocolate brand, which works directly with our local farmers. We also extend our best effort to make this event paperless. Please explore our mobile application to learn more and connect with fellow open government champions. I hope you are all as excited as we are to join the conversation, raise ambitions for our peoples, and strengthen collaboration. In Tagalog, please bear with me, our native tongue, the word open translates to bukas. And tomorrow, or future, translates to bukas. So remember, let us be bukas to a bright bukas. Let us all open for a bright future for all. Now, may I present a short video on the Philippine Open Government Partnership journey in the Philippines. We hit the ground running as a founding member in 2011, and as you will see, we have been working tirelessly to inculcate open government values in our country. As Sanjay Pradhan said, open government is in the Philippines' DNA. We hope that our journey of OGP story will inspire others to take the same path, or better yet, improve on what we have already achieved. Once again, welcome to the Philippines, dear partners, for prosperity. Mabuhay, wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
One of the 8 founding members of the Open Government Partnership, the Philippines has remained steadfast in its commitment to strengthening fiscal transparency, enhancing inclusive digital innovations, and energizing citizen participation. Open budget. We keep our budget and other releases open to public scrutiny, making us the most fiscally transparent country in Asia based on the latest Open Budget Survey. Open Audit. The award-winning Citizen Participatory Audit Program empowers citizens through participation in the audit process. Open Procurement. In 2024, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. signed the new Government Procurement Act, the biggest anti-corruption measure in the country's recent history. Open Information. The Freedom of Information Acceleration Program advances localized access to information through the eFOI portal and mobile application. Open Localities. OGP-Nas, an open government nationwide advocacy campaign, was launched in 2023 to raise awareness on PHOGP. This also led to 4 Philippine local governments being selected as members of the OGP local program in 2024. Open Development. The Support and Assistance Fund to Participatory Budgeting will accelerate access to safely managed and resilient water supply and sanitation services of 75 municipalities nationwide. Open Parliament. The landmark institutionalization of the PHOGP by the current administration through Executive Order Number 31, Series of 2023, now has the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of government working hand in hand to synchronize open government reforms. Open Justice. The Justice Zones program aims to improve justice sector coordination at the local level. Open Bureaucracy. The Public Financial Management Reforms Roadmap 2024 to 2028 leverages the power of digitalization to ensure seamless and efficient government transactions. Open Leadership. The Philippines officially joined the OGP Steering Committee in October 2024, giving us a golden opportunity to elevate our regional and global open government initiatives, such as hosting the OGP Asia and the Pacific Regional Meeting 2025.
We hope our story inspires your journey as your journey inspires ours, that we may continue to work together as a community of nations for the upliftment of the lives of our people.
A government open to co-creation, a nation open to collaboration. This is the Philippine Open Government Partnership.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Thank you very much, Secretary Amina Pangandaman, for your kind introduction. House Speaker, Speaker Martin Romualdez of the House of Representatives, Chief Justice Alex Gesmundo of the Supreme Court, Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo, and we can already conduct a cabinet meeting. We have a quorum here. All the members of the cabinet who have joined us here today, and the excellencies of the diplomatic corps, distinguished delegates of the 2025 Open Government Partnership Asia and the Pacific Regional Meeting, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of our proud and grateful nation, I welcome all of you to our country for the 2025 Open Government Partnership Asia and the Pacific Regional Meeting. We are proud to be amongst the 8 founding members of the OGP in 2011, who made a bold commitment to ensure that governments around the world are transparent, accountable, and participatory. 14 years later, it is our distinct honor to host, for the first time, this event of high significance and relevance. This momentous occasion testifies to how we have embraced open governance as part of our national identity under a bagong Pilipinas. This is complemented by our sincerest efforts to make government processes more responsive, inclusive, and transparent. In fact, our socio-economic transformation blueprint, the Philippine Development Plan of 2023 to 2028, identifies OGP as a key mechanism to deepen participatory governance. By actively involving our citizens in the decision-making process, we establish their significant influence on policy development as it should be. We are pleased to have the DBM Secretary, Amina Pangandaman, as the Philippine OGP Chairperson. She has been instrumental in pushing our open government agenda further. And in the true spirit of the OGP, I'm also pleased to have our civil society organization, or CSO partner, Malayang Lapian ng mga Kababaihan, or what we call Malayakap, led by Ms. Aurora Chavez, who sits and stands by the government side in these pursuits. With the signing of Executive Order Number 31 in June of 2023, we institutionalized the Philippine OGP as a multi-stakeholder partnership. Through this local government units and civil society organizations are involved in the implementation of our commitment to open government and in the delivery of sustainable solutions on various social concerns. Today, we have 4,000 stakeholders from local government and civil society organizations all over the Philippines who have all pledged their commitment to open governance through our nationwide advocacy campaign called OGP-NAS. The Philippines also pursued the Citizen Participatory Audit Program, Grassroots Participatory Budgeting, and Open Data Portal. These programs allow our citizens to participate in the governance process, enriching policy and program implementation. Through these efforts, we have been recognized globally. These initiatives stem from our belief that by creating spaces for civic engagement at all levels of our society, we can truly create transformative and impactful changes down to the grassroots level. We in government are keenly determined to sustain this momentum of best practices. However, our people can only truly participate in governance if they have access to information. This access is made possible by government transparency, digitalization, and the institutionalization of freedom of information through legislation, which is a constitutionally recognized principle. The Public Financial Management Reforms Roadmap of 2024 to 2028 that we launched in September of last year solidifies our dedication to the full digitalization of our bureaucracy. This budget blueprint will facilitate the automation of our public financial management, from planning and procurement to the monitoring and evaluation of how we spend public funds. We are now working on harmonizing our various budget management systems to eliminate redundancies and to achieve efficiency and accuracy in the management of our revenues and of our expenditures. On the other side of the equation, we enacted the historic new Government Procurement Act last year, bolstering our fight against corruption and red tape. Borrowing the words of the Budget Secretary, this is the biggest anti-corruption law in modern times. And how is that? This landmark law simplifies, improves, and modernizes the decades-old Philippine government procurement system. It enables open contracting, which requires the disclosure of data and documents at every stage of the procurement process. Representatives from civil society organizations will be invited to participate in that process, further strengthening their ability to monitor public fund expenditure and contract implementation. This new procurement law has already positioned the Philippines as a leading model of transparency in Asia and a pioneer in open governance in the world. Parallel to the reform of our procurement policy, we also leveraged on the latest technologies to further improve the Philippine Government Electronic Procurement System, or what we refer to as PhilJEPs. Government agencies can just add to cart supplies and pay the same online. Motor vehicles are now available in the system, and we are adding more and more supplies in the coming months. This means that government agencies can now procure goods in a more efficient, streamlined, and cost-effective manner from the comforts of their offices, whilst being completely transparent to anyone, any citizen and any member of government. I am certain that our dear foreign visitors and friends who traveled all the way from their home countries have many powerful stories to tell us as well. We look forward to hearing your experience, to learn from your best practices on fiscal transparency, digital governance, and climate resilience, among the other open government challenge areas. Beyond our variances in our approaches, our shared vision is clear-cut. We want every budget allocation, policy decision, and program implementation to involve public participation, all in pursuit to the empowerment and to the upliftment of our people. With this, I strongly call on all government agencies, local government units, and CSOs, as well as our international friends and partners, to let us continue to work hand in hand in this very important endeavor. Let us foster a deeper trust amongst each other that can only be earned through impactful dialogues, concrete action, and genuine support. So as we chart our course to a more open and dynamic Asia-Pacific, let us be reminded of the powerful role of collaboration, especially in addressing complex challenges of governance in this 21st century. May we see the grand opportunity we have today and use it to send a powerful message to the world that open governance is fundamental to prosperity, to stability, and to security in a rapidly transforming world. Join the conversation. Be advocates of accountability in your own communities. Be part of the global commitment to open governance. Let our initiatives honorably reflect the aspirations of our respective citizens. Thank you very much. And once again, welcome to the Philippines. Maraming salamat. Mabuhay kayong lahat. Mabuhay ang bagong Pilipinas.
Thank you, Mr. President. May we request the President to please proceed downstage to grant us a group photo with all the attendees. And may we also request our attendees to gather at the center. Move to the center and join us in the group photo. Move yourselves in the center of the shot at the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Mr. President. And that ends our photo opportunity. Thank you, Mr. President. And once again, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. may we request everyone to please remain in your respective places until the President has left the venue. Once again, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.